He cannibalized his 90-year-old grandmother's body. 90-year-old Ruby Wallach had her 37-year-old grandson, Dwayne Wallach, live with her in her home as a caregiver in Richmond, California. He would often help with daily activities or running errands for her. On June 20th of 2020, 911 dispatchers had received a call from Ruby's daughter explaining to them that she had found her mother bleeding on the bedroom floor. Dwayne was also in that same room, covered in blood. When officers arrived to the home, that is when they saw Dwayne straddling his grandmother and using his...
What's up, seekers? Welcome back to the channel, man. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you're brand new here, man, and you don't know what we do, we break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos to IG videos. Anything weird, usual, unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Like I said, just want to thank the seekers, man, who's been tapping in with us, man, subbing up to the channel. I guys see the numbers, man. We're growing. I greatly appreciate that, man. Like I said, I appreciate all the comments as well. Found this video for you guys today, seekers, bro. That's what we do best, man. Seek the truth. Let's see what we're gonna find out today.
Some facts that'll make your day slightly better. Part 1. When a human sees a puppy, a chemical called dopamine is released in the brain. Elephants also release dopamine when they see people, meaning that they think we're cute in the same way we think puppies are cute. There's a YouTube channel called Dad, How Do I that teaches young people things that would typically be taught by a father figure. From how to change a tire to how to tie a tie, fans of the channel think it's super helpful. When you're on a walk with your dog and they stop to take a dump, you may notice that your fluffy friend is staring at you as they poop. They do this because they're in a defenseless position and they're trusting you to keep them safe. There are more public libraries in the US than McDonald's. After the horrific events of 9/11, a small Kenyan tribe known as the Maasai people gave 14 cows to the US in their support. The man who played Mickey Mouse ended up marrying the woman who played Minnie Mouse, meaning that true love actually exists.
Really? This is some freaking interesting facts, because man, I never knew that, bro. The voice actor who played Mickey Mouse and the voice actress who played Minnie, they ended up marrying, bro. It's like the perfect pair, man. Like, what are the odds of that freaking happening, seekers? I never knew that, bro. A Disney secret revealed. Hey, seekers, like I said, tap in with us, man. You're gonna learn some new facts, bro. It's gonna blow your reality wide open.
These sisters had a competition to see who could sleep with their dad first. Mrs. Samantha Kirshner, and in 2018 she met her father. She was 17 at the time and always wanted her father in her life. She even met her half-sister and formed a close relationship with her. By September of 2018, Samantha and her half-sister were battling for attention from her dad in the most unexpected ways. That's when they decided to have a competition to see who could sleep with their father first. On September 10th, Samantha slept with her father for the first time, and in the following month they ended up getting married. Samantha's mom was clueless about the marriage, and she ended up notifying the police that Samantha's father had inappropriately touched her. Samantha ended up admitting to police that her and her father had a sexual relationship, but they did not believe that they were actually related to each other. Police then asked Samantha on why she would even do this, with the possibility of this actually being her father, and she stated it was because she had a jealous competition with her half-sister. DNA tests later confirmed that that was actually her biological father. Police then arrested Samantha and her father, Travis Fieldgrove. In 2019, Travis was sentenced to 2 years in prison after pleading no contest in incest charges. Travis stated his actions embarrassed him and he deeply regrets sleeping with his daughter. His lawyer stated that he had a brain injury and was not a high-functioning person. In June of 2019, Samantha got a 9 months probation and served a 22-day sentence.
There is an unfortunate...
Why in the hell would someone have a damn competition like that, seekers, bro? This world's freaking truly, bro. We're on the weird side today, man. That's freaking disturbing, truly, man. You're in a competition with their half sister to see who could freaking get with their daddy first. What the hell was going through their minds, man, seekers? I'm gonna need y'all guys help on that one, bro. That's insane, bro. One of the freaking disturbing cases we've heard so far on the channel, man. Ooh.
Unfortunate updates in a case that I covered in August of 2023. If you click on the comment, you can go back to the original case. But as of this morning, March 7th, 2024, police in Tulsa, Oklahoma have said that the remains of the missing man, Timothy Van Mater, have been found. Timothy was last seen on March 18th, 2023, leaving his home, and he was captured on CCTV footage doing that. Later, they would find his vehicle, but were not able to find out where he was. The remains of a person were found here in this general area, and I guess this is called Mohawk Park in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Apparently, where he was found was in an area that was very difficult to initially get to, and that's why people weren't able to find him, during the course of the initial searches. Two individuals were just out there searching for deer antlers, and they noticed something kind of, I don't know, I guess white in the distance. And so they used binoculars to see what it was, and to them it looked like a body. And so they would go to police, and then the body was found and recovered and was then identified as Timothy Van Mater. As of right now, they have stated that foul play is not suspected, so this may have just been a tragic accident. But his cause of death, as of me filming right now, has not been, released. In a way, I guess this does end, the family's suffering, because sometimes the not knowing can be a lot worse than knowing what happened. But now they will be able to lay him to rest, and hopefully they can soon find peace.
See, because what do you guys think he was doing in that woods, bro? Said no foul players involved, man. But my question is, what was he doing there in those woods? And he was at a place where he said people couldn't get to, so that raises a lot of red flags in my mind. What do you guys think? We're going to deep dive into that case.
If you have one of these 5 names, then I'm sorry for you. I hope you don't have one of these names. But if you know someone who does, you should share this video with them as a warning. It has indeed been proven that these names attract spirits 10 times more than usual, both good and very bad ones. In 5th place, we have the name Karen, which attracts good spirits. The 4th name that gets a lot of spiritual visits is Noah. In 3rd place, there's the name Ethan, which is visited by many spirits. In 2nd place, the name Emma is one of the worst names, perhaps for bringing a spirit into one's home. Before revealing the top spot, comment your name, like, and share this video. The name that brings the most spirits is Kevin. There are 5 other names that are not good for welcoming spirits. If there are enough comments and likes, maybe I could save you. But for now, it's really not certain. Good luck.
Things that are...
That's crazy, bro. I know a couple of Kevins, man. They said bring good and bad spirits, bro. That's crazy, bro. How that video... I didn't think, man, I would know anybody in that freaking video, bro. It said Karen bring good spirits. You would actually think about Karen bring freaking worst spirits, man. You know Seekers, man. All those freaking Karen compilations are out there, bro. But tell me, man, the Seekers, do y'all know anybody, like I said, with that name on that list? I know a couple of people, bro.
They're scarier at night. Corn mazes.
They never bother me. I feel happy and fine.
Got me.
Living in the sunlight, laughing in the moonlight, having a wonderful time.
Playgrounds.
I don't need a lot. Coffee's only a dime. Living in the sunlight, laughing in the moonlight, having a wonderful time.
Be careful. If you come across this group of people, run away as far as possible. Really. I'll explain everything in the video. But before that, don't forget that I can only protect my subscribers who have commented on the video, shared it, and added it to favorites. The people you see here are not Serbian ladies, but Serbian men. And they have plans to conquer the world with their ever-growing numbers. It's terrifying to know that they are already more than 10,000 in the world, gathering to turn this world into a dystopia. What's funny in this story is that their leader is a woman named Marcy, and she is also the leader of a malevolent group called Legion of the Dark Veil. So, a piece of advice: if you see her or her group, run away as far as possible towards a group of people or into a very well-lit place.
Guess you got to, man. Staring at you like that. Never heard of that group before, Seekers. I'll have to check that out, man. Sounds scary, bro.
He cannibalized his 90-year-old grandmother's body. 90-year-old Ruby Wallach had her 37-year-old grandson, Dwayne Wallach, live with her in her home as a caregiver in Richmond, California. He would often help with daily activities or running errands for her. On June 20th of 2020, 911 dispatchers had received a call from Ruby's daughter explaining to them that she had found her mother bleeding on the bedroom floor. Dwayne was also in that same room, covered in blood. When officers arrived to the home, that is when they saw Dwayne straddling his grandmother and using his fingers to rip off her skin. Dwayne had ignored orders to stop, and this resulted in him being tasered by the police officers. But the taser had little effect on stopping the attack. Instead, he continued to pull away at his grandmother's flesh, but this time even more aggressive. 4 officers were able to pull Dwayne off of his grandmother's body after an intense struggle. Dwayne was dragged out of the home, but he continued to kick, scream, and punch at officers. Dwayne was then rushed to the hospital for treatment of his wounds. Police had later discovered that there was an ice pick in the bedroom. Dwayne used this object to stab her to death before cannibalizing her body. In 2022, Dwayne pleaded no contest in his grandmother's murder and mutilation. He was given a plea deal which sentenced him to 28 years in prison. Rest in peace to Ruby Wallach.
Fascinating.
What the hell, man, was this freaking guy's problem, bro? So much darkness in the world, Seekers. How could you do that to your own freaking grandmother, bro? It seems like I said everything was normal. He was out doing like ants work because he was the primary caretaker, and one day he just freaking snapped. Used the ice pick to end it all, and just like I said, the thing that got to me was the details, man. Like I said, they teased him and he still, that wasn't even enough to stop him. He just kept going, like it just shook it off. I don't know if that's adrenaline or something, man, but that's freaking weird, bro. So, because I know you guys seen those videos, man, when people getting teased, man, it doesn't stop them. They just freaking, they keep going. I don't know how they can do that, bro. That'd be mind-blowing to me sometimes.
This man has been sentenced to 100 years in prison after doing the unthinkable to his daughter. Tony Valles is a 66-year-old from Helena. On the 10th of July 2022, he was at home with his partner Heather. Tony's 8-year-old daughter Ariana and his 18-year-old son were also at the house at the time. Suddenly, 2 women entered the property who he believed were evicting him. He flew into a violent rage and grabbed a weapon from his bedroom. At this point, he began shooting. He shot Heather and she fell to the floor, and then he shot at his son. His 8-year-old daughter tried to escape and run from the terror, but she was hit with gunfire. She was on the stairs when she was hit by a bullet and she fell back. She tragically died after being rushed to hospital. After his daughter's death, Tony stated, "I'm sorry for all this. I can't undo what I've done. The pain and the misery will last a lifetime, and I'm sorry for all that." Tony was sentenced to serve 100 years in prison.
I should have consequences, Seekers. And yeah, some dire consequences, man. These edits from Where's the Sky, bro? I wonder where he gets it from, man. I think they're edits.
I was the youngest offender ever here, and now I'm the longest one to have ever spent as much time here. Yeah.
That's your tag, yes?
Yes, I've got the shortest DOC number.
Which year did you come to this prison?
Which year?
In
75. 1975.
1975.
Yes. I've never driven a car. I never went on a date. Never had a checking account. I was never able to be a mother. But a lot of these people in here that are younger, I'm mom.
Do you have many family connections? Do people come to visit you?
My sister does with her kids and her grandkids. So I still have a connection out there. Yeah.
How do they regard you? What do they think of you and of your situation?
Oh, they want me to come home. They want me to,
that hurts.
Yeah. My 2 nieces, they went and broke their piggy bank and took their money to their mom, my sister, and said, "Is this enough to get Aunt Cindy out?"
Gosh.
Yeah. And that's what makes me emotional.
it's very difficult for me to talk to somebody who's been in this situation for 38 years when I look back on my life and think all the things I have done in that time.
Yeah.
And to some extent yours has...
It's in a box.
You came into prison at age 16. What for?
Murder. I committed murder.
Imagine getting out of...
Seekers, man, did you guys just hear her just talking about, bro, like, she went to freaking jail at 16, like, all the experiences, bro, that she never could do. Yeah, man, that's why I said freaking jail is a scary place, bro. Me personally, I refuse to end up in that. That's one of the things, one of my greatest fears. I told myself, I said I would never go to freaking jail, bro. Like she said, she never had a checking account, she never drove, she never went on a date. It's the little things, man, that you don't think about when you're doing those horrible actions, man. It could stop you from living your full life, bro. That's why I said, seekers, always think before you act, man. Don't want to be in a cage for the rest of your life.
Jail just listening into the news and hearing that you're wanted again. 30-year-old Corey Hastings was given the all clear and released from Sydney's Long Bay jail. Later that day, he headed to a shopping centre and all would have been fine apart from the fact that he was accidentally released. Early the next morning, Hastings himself rang up police after seeing media reports they were searching for him. Police put this down to an administrative mistake following a court appearance, meaning it's likely he won't face any further charges. But this is not even the first time something like this has happened in New South Wales. This situation resolved fairly quickly, unlike the case of Randolph Convery a few months ago. Convery had been jailed for offences including assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and he was accidentally let out 5 months early. 2 whole days after he was released, New South Wales police issued a warrant, and he was only located a week later at a country club. In this case, he was charged with escaping lawful custody on the grounds that he knew about the warrant, according to police. But in terms of Hastings, who did hand himself back in, he's gone back to jail, and Corrective Services New South Wales are investigating how this happened.
They made the mistake.
The New South Wales, bro, they need to freaking work on their system, something like that, man, because they just releasing these freaking prisoners, they thinking they free. And that guy, like, he freaking called himself back in, so I guess he turned himself in, man. So they got freaking, I guess, like those 2 times. But what happens if, like, they set somebody, like, really freaking bad out, bro, and he just was on the run and he never came back? You never know, man. So they gotta, at New South Wales, they need to fix their system, bro, because you don't want, because a worse situation could have happened, man.
To summon the devil itself. You won't believe what happened next. Stick around till the end. It's hair-raising. In the dead of night, in a moonlit cemetery, a group tried an unthinkable ritual, whispered chants, flickering candles, and then, out of the shadows, a child appeared, dressed all in white, eyes blank, standing eerily still. As the winds grew colder, the child began to move, footsteps echoing on ancient gravestones. Want to guess where this is heading? Drop your wildest theory in the comments, and if you think you can handle more stories like this, hit that follow button now. Just as suddenly, in a blink, the child vanished into nothingness, leaving nothing but chilling silence and a group frozen in terror. Legend says once you see the child, there's no going back.
This woman accidentally got trapped in the back of a police car, and this is one of the worst deaths imaginable explained. This was 56-year-old Clara Paulino, and her husband was a longtime Miami police officer. Officer Paulino was working a night shift. So around 1 p.m. on August 21st, 2020, her husband was asleep in bed, so Paulino went out to his police car and was attempting to get something, but it's unclear what she was attempting to get. And when she climbed into the back seat, somehow the door closed behind her. I don't know if you've ever been in the back of a police car, but because arrestees always try and escape, they have mechanisms not allowing anybody to get out of the back seat, and it automatically locks from the inside. So Clara was completely trapped. And it was a blistering 95 degrees outside that day. Clara didn't have her cell phone either, and her husband was asleep. And the bar in a police car separating the back seat from the front seat was also locked. She could not reach through to honk the horn and alert anybody. So she sat in the back of this police car, struggling to get out. She was banging on the windows, and they could tell she was because when they found her, she had bruises all on her wrists and hands. And they also found Clara's fingerprints all over the back seat, meaning she was touching every surface trying to figure out how to get out of this. And with the heat rising and her hyperventilating most likely, she may have also been losing oxygen. And sadly, hours later, around 5:30 p.m. that same day, her her husband and her son found her dead in the backseat of the car. She had died from a heat stroke, and it's more than likely this death was very excruciating and long. It's almost as if Clara was literally cooked alive. And that's an awful situation I could honestly never imagine. Just imagine being that helpless in the back of the car when the heat is 95 degrees and likely knowing I'm going to die from this.
Cooked alive.
This is absolutely horrifying, and I also wonder who shut the door. Or how did it shut? Nonetheless, rest in peace to Clara.
This 19-year-old TikToker was murdered while filming a TikTok video. This is 19-year-old Anaya Womack, a woman from Jacksonville, Florida. Anaya was really active on her TikTok and her Instagram, and she really wanted to grow her following. In May of 2023, Anaya was brought to a hospital and dropped off with a gunshot wound in her stomach. After she was dropped off and left there, she died. And 135 days later, the story finally began to unfold. So Anaya's family had fought tooth and nail for justice, for answers. They just had no idea what had happened to her. I mean, how did she end up with that gunshot wound? Who drove her to the hospital? Well, eventually Mariah J. Clayton, a 20-year-old friend of Anaya's, was arrested. So at first, Mariah and the man she was with claimed that they were driving down the street when they somehow stumbled across Anaya and decided to help her out and bring her to the hospital. But obviously the police weren't buying that, and the man eventually broke down and told the police that he had gone over to an apartment complex to purchase marijuana, and that's where he and Mariah had found Anaya with a gunshot wound. They claimed that once they got to this apartment, Anaya told them that she had shot herself and she needed a ride to the hospital. But when police started interviewing people who were present at that apartment on the night of this shooting, a whole different story began to emerge.
Two stories.
Apparently that night, Anaya and Mariah had been in the bathroom in the apartment filming TikTok videos. And one witness stated that when they went into the bathroom, they saw Mariah holding a large black rifle, waving it around, all while Anaya was filming her for her TikTok. So at one point, this male witness said that a man entered the room. He said they needed to be careful with the rifle. They shouldn't be playing with a gun, and he tried to take it from Mariah. But Mariah allegedly said, "I need to check something first." She pulled away with the rifle in her hand, and it accidentally discharged, shooting Anaya in the stomach. And what it seems like allegedly happened is that Mariah and the others that were in the apartment then clamored and tried to hide all of the evidence, and they were the ones that ended up driving Anaya to the hospital later on. But they didn't stick around to tell investigators or anybody who they were. And obviously they hadn't been truthful about what really happened that night the entire time. I'm eager to see how this case turns out, and I just hope that Anaya gets the justice that she deserves.
Seekers, bro, that's why you should never play with freaking weapons, man. If you don't know how to freaking, if you ain't gonna follow the popular safety guidelines, man, the unthinkable can happen, bro. Like, she was just filming a TikTok, man, with her friend, bro, and because her friend was waving around a freaking rifle at that, man, like, and the freaking unthinkable happened, bro. That guy, he was the only one thinking, bro. He was like, you shouldn't play with a weapon, man, because you never know what's gonna happen, bro. He tried to take it away from her, and she didn't follow his directions, and look what happened, bro. Then, like I said, it took 135 days for them to solve that, bro, because they was like trying to hide the evidence and stuff like that. I'm like, it's too late, bro. The unthinkable happened, man. Got to face up to the consequences, man, bro. Was the safety even on, man, or something? How did that even happen, bro? She was playing with the freaking fire with no safety on. It's not smart, man. Seekers, what do you guys think, bro, about that case? Seriously, it looks like an edit, though.
This video is about the strange disappearance of Kenny Veach. He was a Las Vegas resident, avid hiker. He would film a lot of his hikes on his YouTube channel, and he was obsessed with aliens. He loved leaving comments on Area 51 videos. He had been doing this for over 20 years, so how did he go missing? On November 10th, 2014, he set up for an overnight trip to explore the M-shaped cave. There's a lot of lore surrounding this cave, that beings are in there and it's supernatural. So obviously with his interest in Area 51, he went to the cave. And of course he took his camera to document it and post it on YouTube. He told his family it would be a short overnight trip, but he never returned from that. His family and his girlfriend filed a missing persons report. There are 30 helicopters and people on foot searching for him. and he is still yet to be found. But let me talk about what he had to say about the cave. But this was not his first time going to the cave, but it was his first time really documenting it and going deep inside. He said when he entered that M-shaped cave, his body began to vibrate. And the deeper he went into the cave, the more his body vibrated violently. He got scared and hightailed it out of there. The reason he brought a camera this time, he wanted to record his experience if something happened. So my theory is one of two things happened. He either died in the supernatural cave from an animal or something, or maybe he fell. He probably hurt himself and without reception he couldn't call for help. Or two, this cave is supernatural and something got him. But it really seemed like he completely vanished. They can't even find his remains. No bones, no nothing. Let me know what you guys think about Kenny Veach's story in the comment section below. And as always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
A national...
That Kenny Veach story, bro. Seekers. Like, freaking give me the chills, man. He was into, like they said, Area 51 and the supernatural joints. And he went to that freaking cave, bro. Like I said, he's been doing that for 20 years, man. It's something, man. He just, like, disappeared off the face of the earth. That's very freaking spooky, bro. He said he was shaking violently when he went in an M-shaped cave, bro. And he tried to record to get his experience. And then it seems like every single time, man, when somebody freaking experiences something Seekers, but when they try to catch it on camera, something terrible happens. It's like somebody don't want proof of it being out. What do you guys think, Seekers, man? Did he catch some proof and they tried to just, they couldn't let it come out? Or there's something in that cave, bro, like I said, with supernatural, there's something gets on, man. Bad energy, something, like I said, animals, something, man, I don't know.
State of emergency has just been declared after a mysterious ship of unknown origins ran aground and started leaking massive amounts of oil. No one tell America. Emergency workers in Trinidad and Tobago are scrambling to clean up the oil. But the strange thing about this whole situation is that no one knows where this ship has come from, who it belongs to, how it capsized, or even what it was carrying. People are now just referring to it as the ghost ship. In fact, when it was sighted on Wednesday, the government said that the ship was sailing under an unidentified flag, and it made no emergency calls before overturning, which suggests that there wasn't anyone even on board. And because we know so little and there's been hardly any media coverage, people have started going wild with speculation online. But the worst part is that this oil has turned white sand and crystal clear water into black sludge, and it has damaged a number of reefs. This is a massive blow to the island's economy, which depends on tourist resorts and hotels during Carnival.
That's freaking crazy, Seekers. Like, when we be watching these videos together, man, it'd be sometimes I could think, I'm like, how come the stuff we be seeing, like, it's not on the media, it's not on the main news or something, man? I always have to find it through, like, other means, bro. That's freaking big oil spill. You would think that would make, like, national news or something like that. Freaking destroying all the freaking wildlife and plants all around it, man. It's called the ghost ship. It had no flags. Nobody knew who it was. Nobody was tracking it or nothing. Just, like, it popped out, came out of nowhere, man, just made the big oil spill and just, that's the story. I'm definitely going to do some more research into that, bro. The ghost spill or the ghost ship, there has to be more to that story, bro. Right, Seekers? Just has to be, man. Seekers, man, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, man, you're a true Seeker. Thank you guys for sticking with me, man. Like I said, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit the post notification bell, guys. I also have super thanks active, so you guys can try to mess with that if you guys want to. Also hit that post notification bell so you always get notified when I upload a video, Seekers, man. Just like I said, I want to thank you guys for getting me to 1,000. You guys have freaking put the belief in me, man, that I can really grow this into something, man. So I really appreciate the support. You guys are going to keep going, man. Like I said, I've been uploading all of March. You guys are enjoying it, man. I plan on not missing a day, bro. All of March, man, I just want to do daily uploads. And you guys are going to get it from me, bro. I'm out. You guys are going to catch you in the next video. Peace, Seekers. What's up, Seekers? Welcome back to the channel, man. If you guys are brand new here, man, if you don't know what we do here, man, is we break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos to IG reels, anything weird, usual, and unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Want to thank the Seekers, man, who's been tapping in with us, man, subbing up to the channel. Really appreciate that, man. We're seeking the truth just like you. That's what brought you guys here today. Found this video, man. Let's do what we do best, bro. Seek the truth out here.
Once again, another child has been failed by the foster system. In November 2015, 27-year-old Jennifer Rosenbaum called police when her 2-year-old foster daughter, Layla Daniel, began choking on chicken. The dispatcher walked Jennifer through the Heimlich maneuver to try and save Layla's life, but it was too late. When Layla's body was examined, it was clear that she was starved. She had bruises, abrasions, 11 injuries to her torso, and an injury to her liver consistent with punching her abdomen. And according to the pathologist, Layla's pancreas was also separated in 2 pieces. But Jennifer's defense argued that the injuries were actually from the Heimlich maneuver. Layla's older sister, who was 4 years old, was also fostered by Jennifer and her husband Joseph, but she was immediately taken away after Layla's death. But what's crazy about this story and could have possibly saved Layla's life is that this couple never turned in the correct paperwork and only went through a quick screening process to qualify to be foster parents. But also, I question how family services failed to notice the bruises and cuts on Layla's body during their visits. Jennifer was charged as the primary abuser, while Joseph was accused of pretty much turning a blind eye. She was sentenced to life in prison, and Joseph faces up to 30 years on second-degree murder.
Cannibal facts that
Seekers, man. The goes to show you, bro, like, bro, the smallest minute details, man. If somebody doesn't do their jobs, bro, like how it could just have a ripple effect and affect everybody's lives, bro. Like I said, how did those workers show up to the house and they didn't catch on what was freaking going on, man? I don't know if they was rushing their job or doing something else. It wasn't just paying attention, Seekers, but goes to show you, bro. You always have to pay attention to the details, man. You never know what you can miss, bro. Never.
that'll eat at you for days. If you thought Jeffrey Dahmer was picky for not eating people with tattoos, Venezuelan serial killer Dorangel Vargas, who ate 10 people, didn't like his victims to be overweight because he thought that they contained too much cholesterol. On Thanksgiving Day 1991, 23-year-old Omaima Nelson stabbed her sugar daddy William before carving him up and cooking his head in a deep fryer and eating him for dinner. In the 1970s, Jorge Negromonte, also known as the Brazilian Sweeney Todd, would bake his victims into pies before selling them to local townsfolk. After murdering and eating his classmate in 1981, Issei Sagawa was released from prison because of a loophole in Japanese law. Since then, he's actually profited off the crime, writing books, appearing on talk shows, and starring in adult films where he bites his fellow co-stars. In 2001, a man named Armin Maiwis posted an ad on a website called Cannibal Cafe looking for someone to be killed and eaten. A German engineer named Bernd Brandis volunteered, and after photos and videos of the incident were posted online, Armin was sent to jail, where today, he's a vegetarian. In 1904, a Swedish sailor named Carl Pettersson shipwrecked on an island inhabited by cannibals. He was captured and taken to a local king whose daughter actually fell in love with him. The two then got married, had 9 kids, and Carl became the new king.
Okay, that last one story, bro, is freaking truly insane, bro. Imagine Seekers, man, you want to freaking, I guess he got to set deserter on a freaking island full of cannibals. The daughter falls in love with you, man. You meet the king, and you the new king of the island, bro. But you was about to get eaten, man. All those freaking cannibal facts, bro. And how somebody was like willingly to volunteer to be eaten. Seekers, what we going through people's heads, man? These videos, like I said, when I be watching with you, bro, they always expand my knowledge base, bro. Make me learn new things every day. Hopefully he's doing the same thing with you guys, but tell me, guys, what was the most freaking crazy story you guys heard in that vid, bro?
Madagascar's parliament has just passed a law that allows for castration if you're found guilty of a child. The new law, which still needs final approval by the president, sees those guilty of children under 13 receive surgical castration. And for cases against children between 14 and 17, they would receive chemical castration. This would be in addition to sentences of up to life in prison. Madagascar is taking this stance after they saw an increase in child. But some human rights groups have criticized the law, calling it inhumane and degrading, and said it was not in line with the island's constitutional laws. So the question is, do you think that the president should approve this law or not?
Seekers, what do you guys think, man? That's something I'm gonna leave to you guys. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on that, bro. It's gonna be interesting to read you guys' comments down below on that.
This is probably the craziest body cam footage I've ever seen. This officer's name is Jesse Hernandez, and he opened fire at an unarmed arrested man when he mistaken acorns falling from a tree as gunshots. On November 12, 2023, Jesse and another police officer were called to a home in Florida by a woman who claimed that her boyfriend Marquise Jackson had stolen her vehicle. Marquise was arrested and put in the back of Jesse's cop car, but moments later, Officer Jesse is seen walking back to his vehicle when he heard a pop, which he thought was a gunshot. Officer Jesse shouted, "Shots fired," and began shooting multiple times at his vehicle, which Marquise was sitting in. The officer also yelled that he was hit, even though he wasn't. The officer can also be heard slurring his words when trying to communicate with the other officer. Luckily, Marquise was not hit, and it turns out that he did not have a weapon on him. What the officer heard was an acorn falling from the tree and hitting his car. Eventually, on December 4th, 2023, the officer resigned from his position.
Seekers, man. I was hearing rumors about that, but I didn't even freaking believe that to be true. He heard an acorn saying that he was freaking hit. Like, freaking imagine if he would have freaking hit that guy in the freaking back of his car, bro. It could have been 10 times worse for him, man. And he had to freaking resign off that, yeah, because that was freaking video evidence. I don't know what the hell he felt that said it hit him, that made him shoot that freaking many times. He said he heard a freaking acorn drop. That was it. So he can't differentiate a freaking acorn dropping and a freaking a bullet or someone trying to shoot at him. That's weird, Seekers. Very weird.
Facts you didn't want to hear, part 2. Many doctors say that the most common last words they hear are, "I don't feel so good." Most laugh tracks you hear in TV shows were recorded in the 1950s, meaning that the people you hear laughing are probably dead. During the French Revolution, it was said that the guillotine had to be used multiple times to get the job done. The reason that planes shut off their lights right before they land is so that passengers' eyes can adjust to the dark just in case there's a crash. This is so if the power goes out during the crash landing, they can better find an escape route.
Seekers, I never knew that man flying on a plane. That's why they freaking turn off the lights? Damn, weird, bro. I wonder how many other weird, things goes on, bro, that we really aren't freaking aware of, man. I'm going to do some more research into that, bro. Like I said, man, when I watch these videos, bro, I'm glad I'm seeking the truth, y'all, man. I never knew that. Where's this guy?
This man murdered his wife and 3 children before turning the gun on himself. He survived his attempt to take his own life, and this is the mugshot that came out of this. Meet Charles Robert Gillard Sr. In May of 2022, Charles snapped. At the end of May in 2022, at around 2:30 p.m., the police were called to this residence in Michigan. When they arrived, they were met with an extremely gruesome scene. They found the bodies of a mother, a father, and 3 children. All had been shot, and nobody had any idea what had happened. The children were identified as Ronald, Joshua, and Don Gillard. They were only 3, 4, and 6 years old. And the woman whose body they found was 40-year-old Don Gillard. The first responders who responded to this crime scene have gone on the record and stated that it was the most gruesome thing they'd ever come across. The first responders, in fact, had no words to offer upon seeing the scene. It was truly unlike anything they had ever witnessed. So I haven't been able to find any more information about what exactly led up to this incident, but it's known that on that day, Charles Gillard took a gun, murdered his wife and 3 children, and then tried to take his own life, but failed miserably. He survived his own unaliving attempt, spent weeks in the hospital recovering, and now he's going to prison. I'm honestly glad he lived so that he could be sent to prison, because this man really, really needs to suffer.
Terrifying act.
Man, bro. Seekers, you gotta heard that freaking dark and grueling case, bro. Yeah, like you said, what led up to that, to him even doing that to his own freaking wife and kids, bro? Gotta see what happened to his damn nose. Is like almost like his whole like face was almost trying to freaking come off or something, man. After his attempt, I have to freaking check that out, man. Find out what really led up to those moments of what made him do that. Crazy Seekers.
You should never download part 1. Up first we have Camster Pro. Now from an outside perspective, it actually looks quite cool and completely harmless. Now when downloaded on an iPhone, it gives you an option to connect to a network of iPhones which will connect you to security footage, MacBook cameras, iPhone cameras, so you can essentially watch other people. That's already strange, but it gets worse. What isn't told to you is when you download this app, you are unknowingly giving other people free reign to look through your device's camera, meaning other app users from around the world could be staring at you through your iPhone and you wouldn't have a clue. Now share this with friends, make sure they never download this app because this could legitimately save their life. Elon!
Camster? What the Camster Pro does it? Bro, I gotta write that down, bro. Man. Seekers, bro. I gotta write that down. See me right here, bro? Might knock out now. Camster Pro. .2. Hell no. They ain't gonna get me. Y'all gotta see that right there. I wrote that joint down. Hey, Seekers, bro. We gotta be aware out here, man. Man, let nobody freaking watch me, bro. That's weird. You could watch other people as well on the whole network, bro. Speaking technology, Seekers, man, it's getting out of control.
Did this man kill his girlfriend in a fight over how to chop onions? Marcia Linsky was a 64-year-old woman living in Indiana. She was a former defense attorney and was dating 60-year-old Charles Michael Calvert. On the 3rd of February 2014, police received a telephone call from Charles. It was around 8:30 that night, and he stated that his girlfriend is no longer with us. He claimed that they were having an argument and Marcia confronted him with a knife. He allegedly stated on the phone, "She came at me and I responded inappropriately. I'm going to spend the night in jail." Emergency services arrived and found Marcia on the ground lying face down. She had a huge gash in her head and neck, and she was found in the kitchen of the house, and the area was completely disheveled. There were knives in the kitchen with blood on, and there was food everywhere. It appeared that a crock pot had been smashed on the floor, and there was pieces of ham and broken glass all over the place. Charles reportedly told officers that he was cutting onions, and his girlfriend told him he was doing it incorrectly. Charles reported that Marcia shoved the crock pot towards him, and she came at him with a knife, and he also grabbed a knife. Conveniently, he said that he did not remember the details. It's reported that Charles was found with dried blood on his hands. Now, the police officers and coroner stated that they felt that the knives on the floor appeared to be staged, as they appeared to be placed next to the victim's body neatly. The largest serrated knife was covered in blood, and the other knife appeared to be relatively clean. Despite Charles's claim over what the argument was about, there didn't actually appear to be any chopped onion anywhere. There were also shoe scuff marks on a different place of the house aside from the kitchen, indicating there was a struggle in a different room. Charles is currently being held in jail.
Disturbing facts.
So he set the whole thing up with that story about the onions and crap was big, because I'm like, what the hell? You ended it all with your girlfriend over her saying you cut the onions wrong? That doesn't even make any sense. It seems like there's more to that case, but that meets the eye, man. Said there was scuff marks in another room, maybe because the whole thing was just a setup. You're just making that story up, Seekers. What do you guys think?
That will creep you TF out. You are always 6 minutes away from death. Breathing resets that clock. 3M is known as the devil's hour because it is said that during this hour the veil between our world and the paranormal world is at its thinnest. Lapel divide is when you have self-destructive thoughts for a split second. For instance, picturing yourself swerving into oncoming traffic or jumping off of a bridge, although you never really would do it. Jamais vu is the opposite of déjà vu. This is when you feel like you're seeing or experiencing something for the first time despite rationally knowing that you've seen or done it before.
Déjà vu. I felt that a couple of times, I think. And I know I've done something before, man. So That's what it's called.
Scary and haunting facts that'll keep you up at night. While sleeping, we see ghosts in our dreams and suddenly wake up with fear and think it was just a bad dream. According to paranormal experts, it is the virtual reality. They're real spirits communicating with you, but our soul rejects and wakes us up for safety. That is why bad dreams are never completed. In a deep sleep, if you often see your dead relative or friend in your dream, it means their restless soul is actually in your room right now, roaming around you and trying to contact you. According to paranormal investigators, spirits are most active at night and mostly exist in cold air-conditioned rooms. They look and stare at you all night. If you have difficulty trying to fall asleep without any reason, it's a spirit somewhere in your corner staring at you. We actually have a sense to detect a paranormal entity around us. If you feel shivered all of a sudden, it means a spirit just passed through you. If you're home alone and feel like someone is staring at you but find no one after looking, 99% of the time it's a spirit. They want your attention.
I passed away trying to put a TV in my stomach. Hello, I am Poe, one of the Teletubbies. You know who I am, but you don't know my dark history. Before all the sunshine and happiness, there was darkness and loneliness. We were 4 children stuck in a Bulgarian mental facility they called La La Land, where they experimented on psychotic children. They isolated us into dark rooms. La La, the yellow tubby, was a child with a facial disfigurement, making her smile all the time. Tinky Winky, the purple tubby, was a deaf child that was tied to a fence outside and suffered frostbite. Dipsy was a malnourished child that was constantly sick. And me, Poe, I fell into a fire when I was young. Our only source of comfort in our rooms was our little televisions, but as part of an experiment, they told us they were going to take them away. We didn't want that to happen, so we came up with the idea to put them into our stomachs. They were too big to swallow, so we tried to cut them open and put the television inside. But we didn't make it. Remember where we came from. Remember our suffering.
Guys, Seekers, you guys believe that, bro? But the Teletubbies, how they could be based off like a dark story, man. Like I said, these shows and movies and stuff that we watch, bro, they could be, like I said, the deeper meaning behind them, man. We might think they're just a movie or show, but they really could be like something way more dark and sinister behind it, bro. We just have to check it out ourselves, man. Just do the research. I'm definitely going to have to check that out, bro. The Teletubbies, you know, everybody used to watch that as a kid. You wouldn't even think twice about it.
Celebrity Cruises youth counselor admitted to molesting multiple children on the cruise ship. This is Chris John Pentinio Castor, who's also known as CJ. He's a Philippine national, and he was on a cruise on December when he committed the worst offense you can commit. So on November 27th, the cruise ship returned back to the shore in Florida. A 6-year-old girl had been handed over to the cruise ship staff to be a part of the youth program, and when her parents picked her up from the cruise ship, she had a disturbing story to share. She basically stated that the man known as CJ had played with her private parts while she was playing video games. And she even told investigators afterwards, this is so sad, that he touched her where the pee comes out. So when the authorities actually arrested CJ, they were completely shocked when he admitted not only to molesting the 6-year-old girl, but to molesting multiple other children on board the cruise ship as well.
Yeah, well, that access.
CJ stated that he knew where the security cameras were on the cruise ship, so he attempted to hide his molestation as well as he could. Which apparently he did, because none of the security cameras actually showed him committing these horrible acts. But he told the authorities he had assaulted 3 other children, he had made skin-to-skin contact with them, and now he's facing federal charges in Florida. Now, I really hope this guy gets punished and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, but as we know, and especially here on my TikTok, this doesn't always happen, so we can only hope for the best. And this guy definitely has a one-way ticket straight to hell.
In light of the Russian...
What did he mean by that? So some of those freaking people, man, they don't be getting punished to the fullest extent? What the hell did he mean by that, Seekers, bro? Like I said, you know the freaking system, man, has good and bad, bro, but I never think it would be that bad. I'm definitely going to check up on what he just said right there, bro. Because that don't make no sense. Not to me, Seekers.
nukes in space news. This is what would happen on Earth if all satellites suddenly disappeared. Global TV and radio stations would immediately be cut and disrupt international news broadcasts. Almost all travel by air and sea would grind to a halt, causing chaos in airports and harbors around the world. A lot of stoplights would be thrown out of sync, causing disruption in cities. And within hours, most of the world's traffic would be still. But the worst is yet to even happen. Countless systems and machines like air conditioning, factory assembly lines, card readers, the stock exchange, and even the systems that keep track of financial transactions all heavily rely on super accurate satellite-based timing systems. And if these break down, it would be catastrophic. Not only would people be unable to make cash withdrawals and electronic payments, but many food supply chains and factories which produce essential products like medicine would soon break down. This would quickly lead to mass panic, and a state of emergency would likely be declared. Global business would grind to a halt and governments would struggle to cope. Many electricity and even water grids which rely on satellites would eventually shut down. And with the failure of satellite communications, soldiers, ships, and aircraft would be cut from their commanders and vulnerable to attack. And during all the chaos, world leaders would struggle to talk to each other and diffuse mounting global tensions. You'll be happy to hear, though, that we wouldn't actually lose the internet immediately, so we could all talk about our problems on here, because most of the internet's infrastructure relies on copper cable and fiber optics. But eventually, we'd lose that too. Now, it's important to note that there is almost a 0% chance of this all happening, because even if there was nukes detonated in space, it's unlikely that it could take out all of the thousands of satellites currently circling Earth.
But you know, it is kind of scary when you think about it, because how much we rely on the technology and stuff. And like what would happen if it's even off for like a second or something, or a couple of hours, like how everybody would panic. But you know, that happened a couple of days ago with our phones. You know how like all the major lines were down, bro. If you're AT&T, all the major carriers, bro, happened to my phone as well, man. You couldn't contact nobody, bro. It was scary, man. It was out for like hours, actually. Tell me, Seekers, did that guys happen to you, man? I'm curious if you guys experienced that as well. You rely too much on technology, man.
These are the worst of the worst videos on the internet explained, and today we're talking about jellyfish arms. Before I begin, this video is a very hard watch, and I don't recommend looking for it. The video that I'm about to explain is under 1.5 minutes long, and as the video plays, you see a steel-barred jail cell, which looks like it's holding several men. It's hard to see what's going on, but it appears multiple men are straining and holding down one man. On the outside of the cell are 3 inmates. 2 are holding what appears to be thick wooden sticks or metal pipes. It's difficult to tell because of the quality. It's hard to explain, but the man who is being held down has his arms extended through the prison bars. Picture yourself in a jail cell and sticking your arms through the bars and extending your arms out as far as they could. One of the men outside of the cell is holding a rope that is tied to the victim's arm, and he is pulling it tightly, so that the victim's arm is completely outstretched and straight. The 2 men with the metal pipes then start hitting the victim's outstretched arm. After every hit, you see lumps appear on the victim's arm almost instantly. They are hitting him so hard and often that lacerations appear. The screaming from the victim gets more and more intense. After several strikes, the man holding the rope reduces the tension and shakes the victim's arm. You can see that he has several bones broken in his forearm. His arm is partially floppy at this point also. It's worth noting that a bed sheet has been placed and pulled over the victim's head in order to reduce the screaming. Once again, they strike the same arm several more times. The man holding the rope then unties the arm as the prisoner pulls it back into the cell. His forearm is completely floppy at this point, and he struggles to even pull it through the cell bars. And sadly, it doesn't get any better from here. They then take the other arm, tie it up, and pull it through the cell bars once again so the arm is outstretched. They then strike the arm extremely hard multiple times. Despite the loud nature of the inmates and their attempt to muffle the victim's screams, you can still hear them. The sound the metal bar makes when it hits the victim's arm is just sickening, and the screams make it even worse. At 1 minute and 26 seconds into the video, it finally concludes. This is a terrible watch, and there's little to no backstory behind it. But many speculate it was just a normal gang attack, but others say this was a punishment for stealing in prison, which makes sense as they were incapacitating his arms. Regardless, it's an insanely sickening video, and whatever you do, never ever go searching for it.
I don't.
This 19-year-old murdered his own father in an exorcism gone wrong. This is 19-year-old Jack Callahan from Duxbury, Massachusetts. So Jack's father, Scott, was an alcoholic. And at some point, Jack became convinced that his father's alcoholism was driven by demons. And Jack felt like the only way he could cure his father was by dunking his head in a local pond to perform an exorcism. So on the night of the exorcism, Jack and his father were picked up by an Uber driver in Boston, Massachusetts. The Uber driver later stated that Scott Callahan, Jack's father, seemed very inebriated. You see, in the past, Scott had suffered a traumatic brain injury, and he had a history of mental health and substance abuse issues. So according to his defense attorney, Jack's father, Scott, had checked himself out of an assisted care facility that night, and he had gone to a bar and gotten drunk, and this is what sent Jack over the edge. Jack went to Boston to go retrieve his father because his mother said that he couldn't come back and stay with her, but Jack's mother ended up calling 911 that night because Jack returned home in a frantic state, and Scott was missing. When police interviewed Jack, he said he had no idea what happened to his father. He said that his dad was drunk when he met with him. He started beating him, but then he blacked out and walked back into his home soaking wet. But that's what led investigators to the Island Creek Pond in Crocker Park. Apparently, that's where the Uber driver had dropped off Scott and Jack. When authorities went and searched the pond, they discovered Scott Callahan's body submerged in the water next to some suitcases. So Jack later told investigators that he had gotten into an altercation with his father near the pond. According to Jack, Scott had begun to strike him, so Jack took Scott over to the water and began performing an exorcism. Jack held his father on his back, cradled his head, and dipped him in and out of the water. Jack said he kept doing this, trying to exorcise this spirit until his father just stopped breathing. Jack, when interviewed by police officers, told them this. I'm going to read this quote to you. "I left him there to decide. You can come to heaven with me or to hell. I think he chose hell." Jack also told the authorities that he believed his father's body was being possessed by an evil demonic spirit that he called Dirty Dan. And he said that doing this baptism exorcism was in an effort to get rid of this demon. Investigators claimed that this was one of the most confusing, disturbing, and bizarre cases they had ever worked. And to this day, there's no solution in this case. The trial is still pending.
This young man...
Really? Damn, what do you guys think about that, Seekers? You don't know if that was just a cover story, or was he actually trying to do a baptism? That one, man, it is a confusing case to me as well, bro. I can't believe it's still going on to this day, man. You don't even know what to think, man. The people who's trying to process that case. What do you guys think?
Man was murdered and eaten by his friends, and this is a massive trigger warning. What I'm about to explain happened in Bangladesh on August 28th, 2023. The boy on the right who is taking the selfie's name is Shabli, and he was the victim of this disturbing crime, and everyone else you see are the killers. But Shabli was the manager of the farm they all worked on, and one day they all got into a very big argument, and a couple days after the argument, these so-called friends did the unthinkable. They all went to where Shabli was at and then kidnapped him and asked him for money from his parents. Shabli's parents ended up giving them money, and after doing so, the kidnappers assured them that Shabli will be returned home safely by morning, but that did not happen. They ended up killing Shabli and then cooking his flesh and meat and eating him because Shabli saw their faces. The Bangladesh police interrogated a number of suspects, one of whom confessed and showed them the area where Shabli had been killed. Police searched the area but found only fragments of Shabli's bones as well as his skull. On September 10th, 2023, Umung Ching Marma was arrested as the suspected mastermind behind the crime, and the following day when he was taken to the crime scene, an angry mob of villagers surrounded the police vehicle and then savagely lynched him to death. Umung Ching Marma had killed Shabli one day after the kidnapping, before even contacting the parents, which just makes this even more disturbing. He then completely dismembered the body, separated the flesh from the bones, and then spread it both throughout the forest in order to eliminate all traces of the crime. Now, many believe and thought that the suspects had confessed to having cooked and eaten the flesh to reduce the retrievable evidence even further. However, on October 1st, the police denied this, declaring that while the flesh of the body was thrown apart, there was no information on meat eating. But honestly, who will ever really know? I can't believe that friends would do this to each other over some money and an argument. It's absolutely sickening, and may Shabli rest in peace.
Seekers, I be telling you guys, man, money be the root of all evil, bro. Like, it was freaking friends, man. They turned on him, bro. It was all because they was arguing over some money, bro. Contacted his family for money. They paid him. They still getting the money. He still did it just one day later, man. People, man, when money get involved, bro, they don't think straight, bro. They can really bring out the dark side of people, bro. Seekers, if you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're a real one. Thank you guys for seeking the truth with me today. I greatly appreciate that, man. Like I said, guys, tell me, man, if you guys want me to make a Discord in it, and if you guys would send, like, I guess the Tik Toks, whatever you guys want me to react to. I've been thinking about that, toying around with the idea. I'm making a Discord for you guys, for our community, and you guys can send me the TikToks and creepy clips and stuff that you guys want me to see. Like I said, guys, hit that like button, subscribe. Also, hit that post notification bell, man. I've been seeing you guys comments out saying, you guys sub. You guys have to sub out to the channel out of nowhere. But if you can try to mess with the Seekers, bro, man. But we growing. We gonna be strong, bro. So I appreciate the support. I'm out. Peace, Seekers.